Back in the summer of 2004, we knew that we wanted to start working on a next-generation Star Wars game. And with a galaxy as deep and as large as Star Wars, the opportunities are almost endless. We didn't have a shortage of ideas. It was whittling down to the right idea, ranging from a Wookiee freedom fighter.
We looked at games centered around some of the main characters, so a Darth Maul game, for example.
Some we were more intrigued with than others, but nonetheless, we really wanted to get input from George.
He laid out that there were things that you had to hit in a Star Wars story, that you had to have adventure, that you had to have humor.
And then we show him the next presentation is this Wookiee game, and he looks at it and he goes, so I just spent 45 minutes talking to you about the importance of drama, and you present me a game concept where the main character doesn't talk? So he wasn't a big fan of the Wookiee game, but he understood what we were going for in terms of a superhero type character in the Star Wars universe.
But it just got outside the realm of what really felt organic to Star Wars and the brand of Star Wars and the canon. George is all about, fundamental gameplay, and so immediately when he saw that, that was what we were going to do.
He allowed us to give Darth Vader a secret apprentice, which from a canon standpoint is just fantastic. It is such a rich character opportunity. Those are elements that George always made sure we were hitting, and if we came up short on one of them, he didn't hesitate in pointing them out.
We could bounce ideas off of him. He could tell us, nah, I wouldn't go there, but did you ever think about this? Or, hey, why don't you create this new character, which was fantastic because all of a sudden that opened up the canon for us.
And that's when we created that previs.
When we all kind of took a look at it, it was one of those moments where, yeah, that's it. That's the game we want to make. That would rock.
That video was incredibly important because it got all of us excited about, yeah, this is something that's going to be a great game. We were able to show it to George, and he was, yep, that's it. Go make that. It is a rich, deep Star Wars story that fits right in the continuity between Episode 3 and Episode 4.
Because of George's schedule, we had to actually put the story and the outline in a memo form to George.
It was a day when, we heard that the fax was coming and everybody rushed around the fax machine.
We just stood there looking at the fax machine, waiting for it to come out.
And the pages start coming through, and then the machine jammed, and we're, running to get new paper and fix it. And so we actually have this great crumpled fax that came through that we, got and put together.
And you could immediately see that he had checked off basically yes, 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 all the way through, added a couple of great comments.
Bail Organa did this, and Leia was doing this, and it's like, oh my God, this is the absolute source material for this great saga.
For me, it was awesome to be able to take that fax in hand and go back to the team who had worked so hard on this, for over a year, and be able to say, this is it, guys. This is our story. This is our character. This is the use of the Force that we're championing. Let's go. Let's hit the ground and make this game.
The time between Episodes 3 and 4 is an incredibly fertile time, and George encouraged us to develop new characters to tell new stories. Characters at the heart of everything George has done with Star Wars, and it's certainly at the heart of The Force Unleashed.
George was very big on make sure you have a love interest, make sure you have a Jedi mentor, make sure you have a comic sidekick.
Hayden worked really hard in coming up with new and unique characters that also fit very familiar archetypes within the Star Wars universe.
We had many, many conversations with George Lucas about Darth Vader and what is going on in his mind and his heart during this time period.
And in fact, the place that they end up makes these characters so pivotal in the Star Wars saga that once you place these characters between the first trilogy and the second trilogy, you can't imagine Star Wars ever again without them.
We spent several months trying to find the right concept for The Force Unleashed, and once we kind of hit on this idea of you being Darth Vader's secret apprentice and having these over-the-top Force powers, and George signed off on that, we had an even bigger challenge ahead of us, and that was figuring out how are we actually going to bring that vision to life.
George had an influence on Force Unleashed, right? He guided Hayden Blackman and the team toward how they were supposed to make it. I remember him talking. I remember Hayden passed a lot of George wisdom to me, like Star Wars is, I can't remember what the breakdowns were, but George was saying something like Star Wars is this much action, this much this much that, and this much comedy. And he wanted all of that to be reflected in Force Unleashed. He also wanted it to be original, which is, I assume, why he accepted the idea of the Force being kind of amped up to 11.
Hey, talk to George Lucas. He's going to be here in a few hours anyway.
No, he's not. It's a secret. You're the secret apprentice. You can't go around saying that.
Yeah, way to keep secrets, apprentice.